And I mean, we've mentioned a few other clubs like City and their business, and we're keeping an eye on other rivals. That City are the ones that look like the most active at the moment. You mentioned Rayan Cherki. We expect that one to get done. It looks like Aït-Nouri, so they're bringing in a left back. Arsenal also with Sesko seems to be the current one. A lot of quoting that Victor Gyökeres seems to be Liverpool favourites at the moment on the betting market, which I'm not quite sure about. Is there any moves for rivals at the moment that you're thinking like, that's an interesting one? Because I'm just being objective and looking at the traffic, and Wirtz to Liverpool seems like the biggest move of the window, bar none, by a mile at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think it's the one signing you kind of look at that we know about so far, or that is a kind of possibility that would kind of strike fear into your rivals. Because it's literally, I think there's every chance this summer window ends and he is the best player that's moved in it. Now, whether he comes and translates that to the Premier League, or he fits in at Liverpool, or it works out, or he avoids injuries, all those things are up in the air. So you can never get too cocky in terms of predicting that it's going to be a success. But I think on the basis of what we know now, I'd be amazed if a better player than him moves in this transfer window. So, I mean, that's pretty good going if Liverpool can get that over the line. And as I said, we would expect that would be the case. In terms of what others are doing, obviously City and Arsenal are the ones you kind of keep an eye on. I think with Cherki, very, very good player who will fit their style of play very nicely, but he isn't Wirtz. So, they've kind of moved on to second best there, which is what Liverpool would have done if this had gone the other way. So that encourages you a little bit. Reinders, by all accounts, a fantastic player. But I heard Josh Williams on his podcast, which is fantastic, by the way, Distance Covered. People should listen to that. It's talking about Reinders not really giving very much on the defensive end, which, City, I think a lot of their problems are in that. Yeah. So they really need to kind of sort that out. So if he's not doing that in midfield, then they're putting a lot on Rodri coming back and being absolutely on it. I mean, maybe he will. He's unbelievable. But yeah, that's a concern for them. And, Sesko to Arsenal, again, we talked about the striker market and kind of all the question marks there. I think with Sesko is kind of, is he consistent enough? Is he going to be able to do it in this league? I think all the question marks are there. So really, I think if you were City and Arsenal, you could have been doing with a signing more like a Wirtz that feels like it's as close to a home run as you can possibly get, rather than signings that have got some question marks over them, because they're the ones who, it's on them now to close the gap. And Liverpool are trying to widen that gap. So but there's a long way to go in the market, and I guess we'll keep an eye on what everyone's business looks like when the window comes to a close, because I think that's only fair. But at the moment, it's looking pretty good for Liverpool, I'd say.
Yeah, there's no award for winning the transfer window, despite what some clubs have said historically. But in terms of just on the surface, you look at it and you want to be fair on this. We've got Sauer, an elite attacker. Wirtz will come in, you'd probably put him in the elite attacker. Arsenal have got talents, but no one in that bracket. City, you couldn't really argue that Haaland isn't in that bracket as well. But it would give us really two elite attackers against the rest, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and possibly more to come as well, which is, is the idea for Liverpool, is that probably more changes to that front line are possible. So that's a little bit of a worry, I guess, for everybody else. And they've just, the pressure is on them to get the signings right. They absolutely have to, because, they've got to close that gap. And if these players don't genuinely improve, then they've got serious problems for next season. So, whereas Liverpool, they at least know that their baseline performance is this squad they've currently got now is a Premier League title win. So that's not bad at all. So, pressure's on them to kind of get them right. And, that Wirtz one with City is a big early win for Liverpool in the window. But of course, we've got to see how that translates to the actual grass and the football games themselves. But on the surface of it, it's a decent start, and we'll see what City and Arsenal can do over the coming months.
Will be interesting to see. And I mean, there was the season officially ended on Saturday, didn't it? Where PSG battered Inter in the Champions League final. I mean, that was probably the biggest hiding I can remember in a Champions League final, isn't it? It was just completely one-sided.
Yeah, but kind of not surprising either, because you knew how good PSG were when we played against them. I thought they were just absolutely phenomenal. I think I said at the time, I thought they were the team that was going to go on and win it. It wasn't just because they'd knocked Liverpool out, it was just everything you saw from them, that pace, physicality, quality, ability to kind of dictate the game, fluidity in the front line, just literally everything you need in an elite football team, and they have got it. And they had a kind of couple of close calls on the way through. Obviously, needed penalties to beat Liverpool. Yeah. Villa gave them a bit of a scare at times. The Arsenal game was tight at points. But then, you kind of felt that someone was going to be on the end of a hiding because they were just that good. So, unfortunately for Inter, it was them. But, I mean, in terms of what a deserving Champions League winner that was, because they are just the best team in Europe at the moment, and they've just shown it over this year's competition.
Arne Slot has talked about them a few times in his press conference, and we've mentioned it before. You look at their style with their flying fullbacks, almost Dembele playing that false nine. Do you think that is coming to the mix with the way we're going to look at Liverpool next season, that Kerkez, Frimpong, talk of Wirtz could be a false nine? No one's quite certain on that role yet, but Arne Slot looking at PSG as a model for next season.
Yeah, because he's spoken about them so much, hasn't he? And I remember him kind of comparing Conor Bradley's qualities to Hakimi, and I think Frimpong's got a bit about that about him as well. He's kind of high up pace, energy. And they do seem to be kind of, I don't think you would put Wirtz in this, although he's quite quick actually. He's deceptively quick, so he does have a bit of that actually, to contradict myself immediately. But I look at Kerkez and I look at Frimpong, kind of physical outliers, really, so quick, strong as well. I think that's something that Liverpool really want to add this summer, and looking to do so. So I think that's the next step for Liverpool, really, is to add that physicality to the team and make sure that it's not just about you have to unpick the team and it has to be perfect passes every time. Sometimes you can just overpower teams or outpace them completely. So I think it'd be nice to see Liverpool go down that route and try and be a little bit more PSG, because, like I said, they're the best team in Europe, so that should be the aim.
Will be interesting to see how much we resemble them by the end of window number 2. And I suppose the final thing in wider football, you alluded to it earlier, the Club World Cup does start on the 15th of June. So that first window shuts 5 days beforehand. A lot of clubs are having impact on that. As we know, Michael Edwards managed to get a king's ransom out of Real Madrid to let Trent go early as well. So that's coming into deals at the same time. But it's the fact it goes all the way till the 13th of July, and City are in it, Chelsea are in it. Is this going to be a hindrance to them, do you think, for next season?
I would imagine so, yeah. I mean, again, kind of, it's very difficult to predict these things and how they'll play out, but I mean, it can't bode well for them, can it? I just think, particularly City, who are more Liverpool's business, really, in terms of compete for the title, and I still don't think Chelsea are going to be there next season. I think, they've got to use it as kind of a pre-season at the end of the season, which seems absolutely nuts, really. It's going to take something out of the players that they're there. When they come back, are they going to be right? How much pre-season work can you do then? Or are you going to have to put it all in now when they're already exhausted from a long season where they've really had to battle? I just think it's kind of the timing of it is nuts. And it is a good thing for Liverpool that they're not in it, really, because I just think it's going to hurt City's start to the season, or I wouldn't be surprised if it really hurts City in terms of their start to the season. I think that makes it really tough for them. So, for Liverpool, that's a bonus, because if you can make a really sharp start to things, then they can almost run away again as they did this season, or that'll be the aim. So, it's not ideal for Manchester City at all, I'd say, and Chelsea in terms of whatever their aims are for next season.
There is some, I don't know, it'd be fair to say there's a few interesting looking games in there for the big guns. Will you be watching any of it at all?
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's not much else going on at that point, so might as well try and catch a bit of it. Who the hell is broadcasting it? Do you know what I've kind of realised as well? I know absolutely nothing about this competition. I don't know why anybody's qualified. I don't know why Liverpool aren't there. I don't know what Liverpool have to do to be there next time. I genuinely just know very little about it, because it's not on Liverpool's radar. I've just not been paying any attention to it whatsoever. So I don't know an awful lot about it, really. But yeah, I'll probably catch a little bit and learn a bit about it as it goes on, really. But it's very, very strange that it's going on, really, and very strange, by the way, that Real Madrid thought it was worth paying, nearly £9 million to Liverpool to have Trent for it. But again, maybe their consideration there is almost a bit of a pre-season beforehand, or whatever, try and bed players in at that point, and it costs you a pre-season. I'm not really sure, but it's a bizarre tournament, and I'm sure there's going to be loads of interesting results because of who's taking it seriously versus who's not. And it's a weird one, so it'll be really interesting from that perspective. I'm sure I'll try and catch a couple of games, definitely.
Has that feeling that the players won't really care about missing out, but maybe the bean accountants or the accountants are thinking we maybe missed out on a little bit of cash there, but we'll see what develops. I think probably to finish it, it's important to almost loop back to what we said at the start. It's the 2nd of June now. Probably by the time we're talking a week's time, it'll be the end of transfer window 1 or coming up towards the end. We are expecting probably a fair bit to have accelerated in that time, aren't we?
Yeah, I think Wirtz will be done by then. That's my feeling. And I wouldn't be shocked if Kerkez is close, at least at that point. So yeah, could be an absolutely crazy week. Again, you're probably killing yourself making any predictions about the transfer window because things are back and forth and things change really quickly. But as things stand, as we're talking now, that's the kind of feeling. So it could be a very, very busy week.
Does feel that way. Fingers crossed Liverpool end up on the right side of it. But there we go, ladies and gents. A lot happening on and off the pitch, a lot happening in world football. You'll decide whether you're interested in that or not at all. All it leaves me to say as ever is, David, for the time, the insight and answering all the questions. It is much appreciated.
Thank you.
And ladies and gents, that was another Media Matters for Anfield Index.